So, for the past 3.5 years, this wonderful, tranquil little cul-de-sac, or dead end, has been my home. Now normally I wouldn't want to give away this sort of personal information and show exactly where I'm living, but after today it's not really going to matter because I am moving house. And it's not because I want to. I love this street and I really like my house, but well, I've been given a reason that isn't related to rental prices, but I've decided to tie it in to the fact that rental prices in Samui have gone through the roof in the past couple of years, and that's what we're going to be discussing. So I first arrived in Koh Samui to live in April 2019. I'd just done Songkran in Phuket, where I'd been living for the past 4.5 years, and Phuket had become a little bit overcrowded for me. Too many tourists, too much traffic, too many police. It just wasn't, it's still a great place, but just wasn't as much fun as it had been when I first got there. It didn't feel like it. I was spending more and more time in Samui on holiday, and Samui, I'll openly admit I'm quite a fussy person and quite hard to please, I guess, but Samui pretty much ticked every single box. It was touristy, but it wasn't overcrowded. The people could speak English and there was good food, there was places to go drinking, but again, it wasn't like Pattaya, let's say, where that's what you're here for. The beaches are incredible. There was a little bit of everything, but not too much of anything, let's say. When I moved in 3.5 years ago, these weren't here. These have all been built by my landlady, as well as this cafe that's just here. So they're closed at the moment, and well, they're closed quite often, to be honest. If you listen, you can hear construction, but if you listen, you can always hear construction. So just to the right here, this was a field until a few months ago, and now it's, well, I don't know what it is, to be honest. Some weird concrete block. I mean, it doesn't even have any windows. To the right of this, there was this lovely rock. People used to stop off and take photos of that rock, but oh well. And this used to just be like a country road with almost nothing on it, and now if you drive down it, it really badly needs to either be one way or, I don't know, like a footpath or something, because there's people walking on it, there's people heading in both directions, as you just saw or heard maybe as I arrived. Massive trucks and lorries going down it all day as well. It's rapidly changing around here. I've mentioned before, but where I walk my dogs, it's a little field just there. So this is a field right by where I live, and this is where I come to walk my dogs every now and then. More often now actually, because, and I might make a video about this in the near future, but Samui's become really touristy. That might be a stupid thing to say, I mean that's what it is, it's a tourist hotspot, but it feels so much busier now than it did not so long back, and it's just traffic. I mean, I had to do some business up in the north a couple of times this week, and I tell you, it drove me mad, the traffic up there. But even down my way, there is quite a bit of traffic now, and going down the beach with the dogs, there's tourists everywhere and that, and I just, if you've ever lived anywhere touristy, people, you know, they're a nuisance if you don't own a business, no offence. It's rainy season here right now, so these showers are pretty frequent and sometimes quite heavy and long, and other times 5 minutes, bit of drizzle. So this time of year, usually it's quite unpredictable actually, but if I were to try and predict it, I would say from mid-October to mid-December. So anyway, I'll keep going in my snazzy raincoat. Don't be surprised if a few women stop us now, start chatting me up. Always happens when I wear my lucky orange 25 baht raincoat. Actually, the rain stopped now. It always stops as soon as you put it on, just to make it look like an extra bell end. At a leisurely pace with the dogs, it takes me about 8 minutes, and I don't always take the quickest route to get to where we are now. This is the main ring road of Lamai. or of Samui I should say, and that is Lamai's beach road, main beach road. This is the famous McDonald's sign turn. If you ever come to Lamai, you'll hear people saying, oh, turn at the McDonald's sign. And as you can see, quite a bit of rain up there by the mountain. But this would take me, if I was in a rush, I could probably do it in about 6 minutes. But walking with the dogs, just taking my time, letting them have a sniff and a wee and that, about 8 minutes from the house to here. So, and this is not the only route. You don't have to come through the field. There's obviously roads. That won't be there in a couple of years either. So if we head back down my little soy, this is being built right now. So the reason I've been told that I have to move out is because my landlady's brother, who has a wife and child, is building this to be a little business that he's going to run. They live in Bangkok, or have done since I've been here, and so obviously they need somewhere to live. These are also new, these have just been built. So as far as I know, they're charging about 14,000 a month. Hello there, it's Future Me here, and I'm not really a big one for the old social media, but I do have my spies and they've had a look for me. And it turns out that I actually underestimated the price. Those are last year's prices. 19,000 baht is what they're currently listed for on Facebook Marketplace. So that gives you an idea of where we're at. I wouldn't even really call it a studio because, to be fair, tea making facilities doesn't make a kitchen, does it? So when I first moved to Koh Samui, I wasn't actually sure where I wanted to live, and I started up in the north in an area called Bangpor, but realised within a few days that it was too quiet there for me. So I moved slightly east to a place called Mae Nam. Now Mae Nam was very nice. I liked Mae Nam a lot. Shaweng I tried briefly, but I didn't want to live amongst tourists, and so I ended up living in Lamai. Lamai is my neck of the woods, and Lamai is where we are now. The reason why I picked Lamai was because the ratio of Thai people to Farang was nice. It was slightly more Thais than Farang, and then the ratio of the Farang that were expats rather than tourists was also pretty high. I would have said probably 70% of the people here at the time, mostly French. It was a predominantly French area, but I would have said about 70% of the people that were here that were foreign were living here or here long term. I'd been staying in hotels and stuff, and I can't remember what the big rush was, but I remember it was like, I need to find somewhere to live right now, and it was like going all around, and no one was pet friendly at the time, and still a lot of places aren't, but at the time no one was pet friendly, no one wanted the dog. So driving around, couldn't find anything, didn't really know the going rate of anything as well, and in Phuket I'd always managed to stay under 10,000 baht a month. Ended up living in, as you can see, it doesn't exist anymore. It's now a load of pool villas. These are all individual pool villas that probably cost 8, 10, 12 million. So at the time, like I say, this was a field full of coconut trees, just about 100 coconut trees, and just a couple of old bungalows. And anyway, I ended up signing a 6-month contract more out of need than I loved the area. But actually at the time when I moved here, my mum was like, you're in the middle of nowhere, you're in the middle of nowhere. And now, if I were to show you around, it's like, well, firstly you can see that there's lots of houses and stuff all around, but this whole street has just been built up. All the locals are joking and laughing, but it will happen, and it's like, oh, we're waiting for the first 7-Eleven to pop up. It's going to happen very soon. This street will start to have 7-Elevens on it. This was a little patch of banana trees when I moved out a couple of weeks ago, and now it looks like it's already been stripped for building. Another fucking truck on this road. And anyway, 15,000 I was paying to live in this old bungalow. I was basically having my pants pulled down. It was nice. You used to sit here and just hear boom, boom, all the coconuts falling. There was always a big pile of coconuts. He was like, just help yourself. He used to bring free water and stuff to the house. It wasn't all bad, but the price wasn't right. Load of trucks on this street, man. Lamai feels like it's almost doubled in size since I moved here. When I first got here, you had the main ring road, and then you had the McDonald's turn, the beach road basically, and then that went all the way along, and then they met each other at the other side, and that's Lamai. So this road that I'm on right now, the beach road of Lamai, hasn't changed that much, although some of the businesses have probably changed names 4 or 5 times. But in terms of infrastructure and what it looks like, the buildings, it's the same. So here on the west of Lamai, it is at least somewhat clearly defined. I mean, across the road there, that place is still called the Lamai Pet Centre, but it's pretty much bang on the line. As far as I'm aware, macro here, big old macro, that's Lamai. But that big C right there, that's Huatanon. So Huatanon more or less starts, I mean, I'm pretty much on the line. This is the end of Lamai, and that's the next town, which is called Huatanon. So in this direction, Lamai couldn't get any bigger because it's not Lamai anymore. Here on the east of Lamai, things are slightly less well defined. Now this is where you would arrive if you were coming in from the Shaweng side. The actual beach of Lamai Beach ends basically on the other side of that building, Kaywin's Kitchen. If this isn't part of Lamai, I'm not sure what it is, because the next beach is about 1 kilometre from here. It's called Crystal Beach or Silver Beach, but there's no town attached to it. And then after that you've got Coral Cove, which is just like a restaurant. And then the next town is Shaweng Noi, but Shaweng Noi is at least 3 kilometres from here, maybe 4. So exactly where Lamai ends here, I'm not sure. But as was the case with the west, there isn't that much room for development here on the east either. And so all that was left really was to go north, away from the beach. Okay, so just to my side here is the Lamai Temple. And this is situated right on the main ring road here in Samui, and it sort of links the two sides of the beach road, which I've already shown you. It goes round this corner, so as you can see, everything's already about as built up as it could be on this particular street. But what we're concerned with, and how Lamai keeps getting bigger and bigger, is not on the main road, but this network of roads that lead up this way. And there's many ways of getting to it. You can also get to it from down here and turn left. There's a huge network of roads that lead up into, not sure if you can see, but what we have over here are some not mountains but hills, and it's the same behind this Thairish Kitchen where I'm standing now. There's all hills and mountains, trees and nature for now. And what's happening is Lamai is just spilling out and spilling out and spilling out. But that hill, you can already see a couple of houses coming on it. 5, 6, 7 years, I'll come back and stand on this spot, and I bet you that's just houses, people living there and that, and I think it's sad. So behind me there is the CoFit gym here in Lamai, and this is a good example of how things have expanded here very fast. So just before I moved here, I was here on holiday, and I came and it was the opening day of that gym, and my mate said come along, and I went in and I said, oh yeah, look, it's a lovely gym, but why would anyone ever come and train here? It's in the middle of nowhere. Because at the time, if you had turned and looked this way, you would have just seen field after field after field until you eventually got to the temple that's on the corner in Lamai. And now when you drive in, it's still a battered, it's more battered than ever. It's still a horrible old country road, but now it's all 10, 12 million baht pool villas, one after another after another. There's the Winfield International School there, but basically what was 5 years ago when I came here a whole bunch of fields is now a whole bunch of pool villas. And this is another big problem that Lamai has in terms of its infrastructure, because the roads are ill-equipped for the amount of people and traffic that we've now got. A lot of the streets, especially in that back network, they're country roads and they're two-way and they don't have footpaths and stuff. And so now you've got a lot of, it was okay when they were quiet, but now that you've got a lot of people on them, they really need to be expanded, but they can't be expanded because a lot of the businesses and houses are built literally on the side of the street. Like as you're walking down the street, you could knock on someone's front door and just keep walking, you know. So where's the street supposed to go? On the west of the island, it seems like they're a little bit more prepared and they've built bigger roads, and that's the quiet side of the island. I don't think when they built up this side of the island, they were ever expecting it to get quite as busy as it has done, and now it's not ideal. So if you had visited here at any time in the past sort of 10, 15 years, maybe even 5 years, chances are you're either staying in a hotel or somewhere exactly like this, sort of a Thai style bungalow, 1 or 2 bedrooms, but basically just what I would call a normal house. Almost everyone here now, I can't say almost everyone, but certainly the houses that are being built, almost all of them have a private pool. We live on an island with about 15 world-class beaches on it, and everyone wants their own. Why do we all have to be VIPs? We all think we're Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie now. We've got to have 3 spare bedrooms and a maid that comes round to clean our house every day. Like, there is still the odd mom and pop stores to be found on these back roads, but their numbers are getting fewer and fewer by the day. Talking to someone the other day about this, and I said, well look, the place is changing too fast, it's changed so much. You know, I was looking at videos of the 90s and the early 2000s and it's unrecognisable, and he said, well, that was a long time ago. You know, if you go back anywhere 20, 25 years ago, it would look different. The town where my family live in the west of Ireland, it hasn't changed for about 100 years. You know what I mean? You might get a lick of paint somewhere every now and then. The place looks exactly the same. This place is unrecognisable. This is massive change in a very, very short amount of time. I've only been here for 5 years, and I already feel like a lot of the things that made me come here have disappeared, and a lot of the other ones are disappearing. I say that while I'm stood on a gorgeous beach. I am aware that it's still amazing here, but I'm watching it happen in real time, guys, and it's really sad. You know, I've bought property here myself, but I bought property that already existed, that was derelict, and made it nice. I'm against the idea of buying some grass here and building pool villas, but building anything basically. I like the nature. So my second house here in Samui was down this alleyway here, which at the time this used to be a mechanic's. Now it's a French restaurant called A Table, and across the way is Seb's Bakery, which again at the time didn't used to be anything. I think it was just like a field. So it has changed quite a lot here as well. Brand new. No one's ever lived there before. It's just been built. The plastic is still on the TV and the control and the sofa and the mattress and stuff. It's brand spank. The duvets are all still in the set that it came. No one's ever used any of the £7,000 a month. I'm not going down there because all the houses are really close to each other, and it also looks different now anyway. They've built more houses in front of it because, like I say, everything's changing very fast here. But, well, 200 metres down that way, £7,000 a month is all I was paying. I guess I would have moved in around October, and then I went on a visa run at the end of January, start of February the following year, so it was 2020. And if you remember what happened in 2020, I ended up getting locked out of the country for about 10 months. And for that 10 months, my mum had been living in this house with my dog. Now at first she said to me, I don't like this place, I don't like the location, what the hell are you living here for? But by the time I came back, she was like, it's alright, the neighbours are nice, everyone's good, you know. And so about 10, 11 months later when I got back, she was like, oh, I wouldn't mind just staying here actually. And so when I came back after COVID and had to find somewhere new to live, I ended up finding this place right here. We'll go down and have a look. Looks like it's got a lick of paint since I was there. So it looks like a really nice quiet location, right? But actually just down here, like literally just there, that's the main street for all the restaurants. And if you turn about 50 metres from here, is the main soy for if you were hoping to meet a lady in a bar in the Lamai area, that's where you'd go to. Anyway, this house right here, I used to rent for 8,000 baht a month. And it's not quite a 1-bedroom apartment, but slightly better than a studio because the bedroom and the living room were all together, and the dining room, but the kitchen was separate. And at the time, this balcony was a lot bigger. This balcony went the whole way down. They've converted it now into something a bit bigger. The kitchen's at the back. But yeah, 8,000 baht is all I was paying for that. And at the time, this house here didn't exist. I used to park my bike there sometimes and just walk down. Now, as it happens, I was very, very happy in that house and didn't want to move. and I also liked the price. But what happened was, April 13th is Thai New Year, Songkran it's called, and on April the 12th the cleaner, also for that 8,000 baht, cleaner would come around, I can't remember how often, every 2 weeks or once a month, can't remember, give the place an old one too. It was very welcome considering the price I was paying. Anyway, she turned up on April the 12th, which I think was the day she was due anyway, and she's sort of like, why is all your stuff still here? And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, why haven't you packed? And I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. And she's like, no, there's people checking in here. And I'm like, no, there isn't. We live here. We're here. We're permanent residents. We've got a dog. Like our whole life. I had a girlfriend at the time. So everything we own is in this house. Like we're not moving out. Or we hadn't planned to. It wasn't like I was refusing to, but I was letting her know, like, no, you've made a mistake. Next thing, message from the landlord, yeah. We've rented it out for Songkran for 3 or 4 days. Need you to get out. You can move back in if you want afterwards. And I was like, mate, where are we supposed to go? It's Songkran for starters, so everyone's jacked their prices anyway. And we're looking for long term, and we've got a dog. Anyway, it was a big problem. And we basically had 24 hours to try and find a new place to live. And so now on very, very short notice, we're looking for somewhere to live. To be fair, the previous landlord did say, well, I found somewhere you can stay for the few days and then come back to mine. But we didn't really like that place, and I'm kind of annoyed with the whole situation. And so we decided to go and try and find our own place to live. Frantically driving all around the place. And then when we came across the house that you saw at the start of the video, my ex-girlfriend at the time sort of fell in love with that street. I said, let's call them, let's find out. And so they said normally we charge 15 to 18,000 for them houses, but with things being as they are, and they're also not pet friendly, but they said with things being as they are, we'll take 12. And this was out of character for her. She would never normally do this, like haggle and you know, but she really liked the house, and she said, will you come down to 10? And the lady said yeah. And so we moved in. We at first moved in on the other side of the street. And I lived on the other side of the street for well over a year before moving to the house that I'm going to show you very shortly. So in my garden, I've got some coconut trees, but for the past year, the squirrels have eaten every single fucking one of them. But a couple of years ago, I got about 100 coconuts. It was great. And so this fence wasn't here. I've added this myself. As you can see, my dog's broken little bits of it, a little bit down there as well. And after about a year and a half, I got a call from the landlady saying, look, our bank rates and stuff have gone back to the pre-COVID rate. We need to up the rent. We're going to bang it up to 14,000. It went up in January 23. And so I believe the going rate for that house at the time would have been about 16 to 18,000 baht. In the meantime, the prices here have gone mental. So 1 bedroom house next door to me, he's paying 24,000 to the same landlady. The first houses I walked past when I was introducing you to this soil and I was down by the orange wall, they're all like 28,000, 29,000 a month. They don't have swimming pools or anything. They're just, I think it's 2 bedroom, 3 bathroom. Just normal houses. So over the past few months, and I could go back further, but particularly over the last few months, I've had more and more conversations with people who I thought were Lamai lifers that now live in Huatanon, Namuang, Glipanoi, or are leaving the island altogether. Also, the new people that are coming in, more and more so when I say, oh, where are you living? Whereas 1 or 2 years ago, most people would have said like, oh, I live close to Lamai International School or close to the Winfield. More and more people are now saying, I live in Namuang, Glipanoi, Naton even. So the reason for people leaving Lamai is threefold, I would say. If you already live there, there's 2 main reasons. I think it's because A, the rent prices have suddenly gone way up compared to what they used to be, or B, you don't really like being around as many tourists. This isn't what you signed up for when you first got to Lamai. So some of the people that moved here, like myself, originally not really wanting to be around 1,000,001 tourists, now find that this is a predominantly touristy area. The third reason why you might not choose Lamai if you're a new person is because there actually aren't any places to rent. Despite the fact that we're building all these new pool villas all the time, and despite the fact that the rental prices in this area have gone through the roof, they're all still full, and that's why landlords are feeling quite confident putting the price up again and again and again. Yeah, there's a lot of mosquitoes here, I'm getting eaten alive, but every time the place is empty you just think, I'll whack it up for another 2k and see what happens. I'll put another 5k on it, see what happens, and people still call you and still rent it. And so then your mate is like, what, you got it? I'm going to try it. And suddenly what was a crazy price a few months ago is a normal price. And that's what we're seeing here. Look, there are still 1 or 2 bargains to be found. I know someone that claims to have found a little bungalow for 10,000 baht the other day, 2-bedroom, right in the heart of Lamai. So maybe it's not completely impossible, but it's very, very difficult and unlikely. So when my landlady told me it was time to go, she actually gave me 3 months notice. Now, because of that, I am a person who procrastinates, and maybe didn't pull my finger out as much as I should have. But I did have a look, and I did keep my ear to the ground, and I did have a few conversations and that, and nothing popped up. And then obviously when you get down to the last month, you really start looking, and then when it was 2 weeks to go, I was making phone calls frantically. But I can tell you, in the 3 months that I had, I couldn't find anything that was pet friendly for a reasonable fee in Lamai. Came close a couple of times, missed out on a couple of things that were available, but like literally the first person I went to see them took them, sort of thing. There was a couple of cases where, like, if they don't take it, we'll call you, but the person did take it and stuff like that. And so for 3 months looking about, I still couldn't find anything that was suitable, and I've ended up having to move to the next town over, which is called Huaton. So even with the north ballooning up in size and getting bigger and more villas, the truth is that in Lamai there really isn't anywhere to rent. It's still quite difficult to find somewhere to live. Some landlords in the area have also switched from doing long-term rentals, sort of minimum 6 month, 1 year contract, down to, in some cases, nightly or 1 month, 1 to 3 months, because you can charge more. I think it's happening in Spain quite a lot now, isn't it? On the Spanish islands, where they're saying, like, where are the locals supposed to live? The answer, at least as far as Lamai is concerned, is not in Lamai. For example, someone that's come over here to work as a teacher, and they might only be on 40,000 a month. So how are they supposed to pay these sort of rental prices and survive and have any sort of quality of life to go along with it? Okay, so let's spend 5 minutes on Facebook Marketplace together and see if it's really as expensive as I'm making out compared to the rest of Thailand. So let's zoom in here on Lamai, and okay, so straight away you can see more big numbers than little ones, but let's check out some of the more modest ones. So let's take a look at this one quite far away from town for 40,000 baht. So it's 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom. Photos do make it look like a nice little house, but not long ago I reckon this house would have set you back around 20 to 22,000 baht a month. Now it's 40, which is £1,000. How about this bungalow, which is also quite far from the town, and just 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom, available for 29,500 baht a month. If you live alone, you'll need a nice salary. So this is one I actually viewed while I was looking for a new place to live. 18,000 baht for a 2-bedroom house located very close to the main road in Lamai. Only 1 bathroom, but I was ready to put my money on the table until the lady told me the house only had water 4 days a week. That's right, 3 days a week you can't even flush the toilet, never mind have a shower. No wonder it's still available. Now I have my doubts that this one is actually in Lamai, but it's 30,000 baht a month, coming down to 20,000 if you sign a 1-year deal. A little bit basic and mostly unfurnished. So what do you get for 14,000 baht? Actually, this isn't bad. This is a nice little Thai style bungalow and cat friendly. Not too far out of the main town either. Bit of a bargain this one by current standards. And if you really want to live on a budget here, it is still possible. Although again, I can't confirm the exact location of this one, but it's listed at 7,000 baht a month. The options in the 100,000 baht or more category are, as you'd expect, a lot more extensive. At the moment, the renters are still saying, okay, at some point, maybe when the people who are turning up start saying, well, we're not willing to pay that, then the price will come back down. I'm getting eaten alive here. So I'm going to show you in and let you know what I've been getting for me book. Now, as you'd expect, the house is very messy. I'm literally moving out at 1 o'clock. What's the time right now? It's 12:05. You're out of focus there. You'll just have to take my word for it. And so as we go into the house, like I say, expect a mess. So my landlady, I don't know if the story about her brother is true or not, I didn't finish it. But basically the story is her brother's going to move down from Bangkok with his family and run that shop. Obviously he needs somewhere to live, right? So the plan is that they would come and live in this house, unfortunately for me. So I've had to move out. But whether that's the real reason or not, I don't know. Hello there, it's future me again. And it turns out that the whole my brother's moving down from Bangkok thing was bollocks, because not long afterwards I was sent a photo of the place saying full rent. So again, I got my spies on the job, and a couple of days later I received this, and I have to say I'm shocked and a little bit disappointed at the lack of effort, I guess. I mean, I knew, look, I suspected that they might do this. If I was them, I probably would have asked me to move out anyway, or said, look, you know, your rent needs to go up a hell of a lot. If they do put someone in here, they'll probably get double what I'm paying, or close to. They'll probably get 25, 26, 27, 28, no problem. And I thought, if they do, surely, you know, they'll jazz the place up a bit, you know, to make people think, ooh, you know, it's the same couch, the same bedside cabinets, the same everything. 14,000 raised to 35,000. So this is where I was able, my dining room, my kitchen. There wasn't much in the kitchen, most of that stuff belongs to me. But there was a TV and the couch and the table and chairs and stuff. The fridge is also theirs. And the cabinets. So since I've been here, I've had the place painted. My mum actually added in them. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2 ensuite. This is the spare bedroom's bathroom. This is the bedroom that I never really slept in. This was the hotter of the 2 rooms, in my opinion. A few people have said to me, oh, you must be really pissed off about it, you know, you must be really angry. I'm not. Look, I would have preferred if they'd said to me, mate, come on, you're not paying enough. But it's business, isn't it? And if you owned a business, maybe you do own a business, if you found out that people were willing to pay about 120% more than you were charging, wouldn't you double your prices as well? I mean, unless you're in it for sort of altruistic reasons, most people are in it to make profit. So, you know, I don't hold any grudges at all. Don't blame them. As we come round, there's also a little bit of a back garden, but not much. And here's my kitchen area, extractor fan and stuff. Like I say, most of that was just empty when I moved in. And then my bedroom